Hi, ladies, and welcome to this interview with Sarah Thomas. This is going to be a really, really cool interview because she is involved with one of my favorite apps, the Riveter. So good morning, Sarah. Thank you so much for taking the time today to talk with all of us about what it is that you do. Could you take a second and introduce yourself and tell the girls a little bit about what it is that you do?
Absolutely. Good morning, and thank you so much for having me on. So my name, again, is Sarah Thomas. I am the director of the Riveter. We're a 3-year-old startup out of Seattle. We really focus around supporting working women in a variety of ways. We have co-working spaces. Before COVID, we did in real life programming and events. And now we have this amazing digital community where we're so excited to be able to invite women and allies all over the country and to have conversations, to find community, and to really support each other.
Awesome. That's great. And like I said, that's one of my favorite apps is the Riveter. So kudos to you guys for coming up with that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely. So how did you how did you land on working with this company and in the capacity, and what is your capacity within, like when you say director, like what are you responsible for doing?
For sure. So because we're a young company, we're 3 years old, as the director of human resources, it's very different from, say, like a larger company like Microsoft. I oversee everything that has to do with it, from hiring to benefits, reviews, my favorite parts such as helping leadership and talking with employees, doing career transitions, all of the things, anything that really has to do with the life cycle of an employee from the time they interview through to whatever that end looks like, promotions, etc. I'm there and I'm working with them through that entire life cycle.
Wow, that is really cool to think about, like all of the things that you're responsible for. And I like how you phrased it, the life cycle of an employee. That's a great way to think about someone who's in human resources. Very cool. So you always wanted to be like in human resources? Like how did you come to have this as a career?
For sure. I think human resources is one of those kind of funny careers. I don't think anyone when they're young is like, hey, you know what? I really enjoy paperwork and following rules. Maybe I can make a career out of it. I started in operations. I really like things that are in order. I like process. And so human resources quickly became a very natural fit for me. Also, the human side. I love people. I love to see them succeed. I love helping where I can. And so it was just kind of a perfect fit. It was this combination of very, right-brained process, let's get it done, and this left brain of like, but I love people. And I want to make sure that the experience that they have, because work takes up, we spend more time with the people we work with than we do our chosen families, with friends, with anyone. And so how can I make this experience the best it could possibly be so that it's a win-win? It is all about the employee and the community and the company, because the company is nothing without their employees. And of course, the employees need the company in order to get all the rest of our life stuff done.
That's so cool. And I like nobody thinks that they want to do all this paperwork. It's surprising, ladies, just so you know, it's surprising how many of the career paths that you are looking at and exploring have a lot of paperwork involved with them. And so really kind of working now on getting your organization skills together is really going to be key in helping you kind of being successful in whatever career path you're going to take, because there's going to be paperwork involved with every single job. So I like how you brought that up. What does it take besides, being organized and everything? What does it take to be the director of human resources? Like, are there classes that you take in college? Is there special training that you take? Like, how does that happen?
Yeah, absolutely. So there are degrees in college. Some colleges have a business degree with a human resources emphasis. The college I went to had an organizational communications component of the communications college. There's also SHRM, which is the Society for Human Resources Management. They do certifications. PHR is another certification that you can get. So even if you didn't decide maybe in college or the first 10 years of your career that this is what you wanted to get into, there's still plenty of time to learn and to grow and to build that knowledge base to be able to do the job well. I have none of those. I did not go to school for organizational communications. I don't have my SHRM yet, something I'm working on. And I don't have my PHR. So even if you don't have maybe, say, the typical roadmap, it's still one of those careers that you can gain through experience. It is one of the best ones when people ask how to get into HR. It is by getting HR experience.
Awesome. So I really like the fact of like the experience, and that's one of the things too that trying to emphasize with you ladies is that a lot of the career choices that you're looking at, experience is going to be really key. So are there, with that in mind, then how do they go if someone is considering a career in human resources? What are the paths to look for and places to go to look for that experience?
Yeah, great question. I am a big fan of small companies. Big companies do great. So I do a lot of recruiting. So big companies look great on resumes. Absolutely. Showing that you have been able to work your way through a large organization, having exposure to the way they think and the way that they put their organization together, very valid. If you want to gain great experience, you want to go small companies, young companies, startups. They'll take you for whatever you've got. If you are just organized, if you are just like, yeah, I can do it, I'll figure it out, I can read a handbook and kind of decipher what that really means in practical, they'll let you try and do it. They'll say, okay, great, you can do that, perfect. Nonprofits are another great place to get experience and exposure. Operations as well. So say you're a manager at, I'm going to show my age and say like Hot Topic, but that's not it at all. Say you're just a manager at a retail place. Then you're getting experience in HR. If you're managing a person in whatever capacity that is, and also leadership doesn't necessarily mean management. You can be a leader in an organization and not manage a single person. So if you're having those moments, if you're providing consult, if you're managing employees, you're getting that small pieces, and then the rest is really about building your resume of how do you build that to make it and showcase those opportunities that you've taken. But small companies, startups, nonprofits, they'll let you try things and will grow with you and allow you the opportunity to build on your experience base. It's the best way to get a ton of experience really quick and to try things out. You can try a variety of different things and be like, oh my gosh, I absolutely hate payroll. Too much numbers, a lot of rules, you can't screw that up. Ooh, there's a lot of things you can screw up. People's money, people's benefits, these are things nobody has empathy for. So like you could say, I don't like that piece of it. Okay, I don't want to do that. It will allow you to try things, and then the best way to figure out what you like and what you don't like is say, oh, tried that, nope, tried that, love it, keep that piece. So when you build on and go on.
It's awesome. And see, I really like that advice because I think that a lot of times you think about wanting to get that internship or that experience with a big company because, oh, that's going to take me really far. But then there's stiffer competition, I think, to get in with those bigger companies. So trying to get in with a smaller company, you're actually going to, like you were pointing out, you're going to get the opportunity to have more responsibility than anything. And I think a lot of times too, when you're then going for your next job, they really are looking at what are you able to do, not who did you do a little bit with. That kind of, that's really, really good advice. FYI, we're a small nonprofit, so anybody else who wants to get a hand at
call them.
So what do you think has been the biggest thing that you have struggled with in your career, and then how have you handled it?
This is a great question. Because I think the thing that I've struggled with the most in my career is how nonlinear it's been, and comparing my journey with my friends that I went to high school with, that I went to college with, that maybe I'd worked with before, and what they had gone on and accomplished. And my journey wasn't this like college, internship, amazing job. You know, it was very, college, internship, took a job for a while. Oh my gosh, the recession hit. Take another job. Went to beauty school. It has been this amalgamation of experience and of trying things out. And oftentimes I can look at my friends and be like, oh my gosh, they're VPs, they're owning their own companies, they're doing all these things. And so my biggest struggle has been against comparing myself to somebody else's journey. How do I combat that? It's my journey. It's my journey, and it's amazing, and it all works out in the end, even if it doesn't look like everybody else's journey.
And I think we do that all the time, where we are comparing, there's that quote or saying or something like that about, like, don't compare your chapter 1 to somebody else's chapter 42. Like, you're not, a lot of times it's not apples to apples. It's everybody's got their own journey. And you don't know too, who's looking at you, wishing that, they were where you are. I think, because I know, like when you and I connected, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm getting to talk to somebody who's, a part of this amazing organization. And so to hear you say then, like you've been comparing yourself to your friends, I'm just like, wow, I'm like, I wish I were more like you. So you never know, ladies, who's looking at you and admiring you. So really try to avoid that comparison. You can look at others and see, like, what are they doing, and what kind of steps have they taken, talking with them, that kind of thing, and see how you can apply that to your path, to your journey. But don't think that their path is the right path, the only path. It's just the way that they've chosen to get there. So that's great. I like how you are putting that into perspective. So we talked a little bit about the struggle. So then what has been the funnest or the most rewarding part of your career?
One of the things I love, because it has been so nonlinear, is I've got to experience a lot of things. I've worked for marketing agencies and got to work with huge talent like Amazon and their FBA, Prime Day, marketing campaigns. I've got to work with a sanitary supply company. I've done a ton of stuff, but that just builds on the knowledge that I possess and that I'm able to take forward. Nothing learned is ever wasted. You never know when that one nugget that you picked up from just somewhere random is going to be the key to be able to either make that connection with somebody where, they are talking about loving building cabins, and you're like, oh my gosh, what is it built out of? Because I worked for a lumber yard when I was 19. So yeah, it's never wasted knowledge. And my most proud accomplishment so far has to be just the team that we've been able to build here at the Riveter. I started here when we were about a year old and have watched us grow, and the incredible people that are with us on this journey I learn so much from. I'm in awe of their experience and when everybody kind of comes together, the magic that can really happen. And just knowing that because I was a head recruiter when we launched from being 23 people to being 70 people, I was responsible for bringing a lot of those people in, and that's awesome. And I'm proud of that.
That's very cool. And it really is very energizing, I think, to be a part of, a startup and then getting to be part of that growth of that company. That's very fun and very cool to be a part of, to see your hard work. Because like you said, when you start with a small company, you're getting to do a lot of things and be really involved with it. So that's awesome. And you've talked about how your career path has not been very linear. So how are things, like when you first were kind of thinking, like, you were leaving college, and like, oh, this is what it's going to be like, versus like now in the reality, like, how is it different? How is that different than what you thought it was going to be?
Oh, I mean, it's all different. It's all different from what I thought it was going to be. I think I had so many preconceived notions of exactly what it was going to look like. You know, movies have shown me what life is exactly going to look like, and I should plan accordingly, which is actually what I found is very not true. And I think that, you know, when you're planning on going out of college, that first step, don't put so much pressure on yourself. You can have missteps. You can do things wrong. You can try things out and have them not work. In fact, you learn a whole lot more on the things you screw up than you ever will on the things that you get right off the bat, because you won't remember how you did it, so you can't replicate it. But if you screw it up, ooh, you're going to remember it. And so don't put so much pressure on like what that first step is. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to screw things up, especially in your 20s. Like, go screw things up. Try out a job that isn't right for you. Move across the country on a whim to do that crazy job in Seattle or whatever it is. It's all gaining experience, but don't ever stop gaining. Don't ever stop moving. Don't ever get complacent, because you're building a foundation in your 20s that you will build your house upon in your 30s, 40s, etc. It's important to know that that's what you're building. Also, it's okay to not have it be perfect. It's okay to make mistakes. The cracks that you will fill as you begin to build your foundation will make it much stronger in the end.
Absolutely. And that's great advice too, because I think so many of us and a lot of young ladies as well are probably thinking, you know, like you're planning, you're trying to plan, like, what do I want to do after college, or what do I want to do after high school? What college am I going to go to? What am I going to study? And making all of these plans. And then is really need to realize that you're going to make these plans, and then things are going to happen that are going to bump it off your track and everything, and really realizing that that's okay. And it's okay to not know what you want to study in college. It's okay to, once you get out of college, to be like, I have no idea what my job is going to be, or that kind of thing. Like, it's okay. Nobody has it figured out. And anybody who says that they've got it all figured out, I'm sorry, is probably lying to you. You know, and lying to themselves. It doesn't happen that way. So,
and kind of going back to that experience piece, when you're talking about like degrees, for all the people that I interview, there are only very few that have their degree in exactly what they do today. I don't have my degree in exactly what I do today. If we're going to be like a surgeon, probably going to have to like really hone that in. But aside from that, like, you can have a degree in a variety of things and still be whatever that is. I got a friend who's got a degree in philosophy. He's a lawyer. It is open. It isn't a life sentence once you pick your degree.
Exactly. And I think a lot of times too that I don't think, like, because I've had a wide variety of jobs, I don't think anybody's ever asked me what college I went to. They're much more interested in the experience that I ever had than, you know, like, did I go to college was the question that I asked. What did I think about college? How, you know, that kind of thing. But it was never, where did I go? It was literally, I don't think anybody's even asked me, like, what was my degree even, you know? So it's kind of some things to consider when you're looking at college and, you know, post high school, that kind of thing. So, well, Sarah,
yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us today. We really appreciate it. Ladies, be sure to scroll down below the video. There is Sarah's written interview. And then below that, that's going to be the place where you can put your questions and comments for Sarah, and she'll be able to come back and answer any of those questions and respond to you guys. So thank you so much. You guys have a great day. Bye.
Thank you.